How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 26. Moving into episode number 11 for the 2028 draft and offseason with your Stanley Cup champion, Detroit Red Wings. In the last one, it was the start of the youth movement here in Detroit as we had one of the wildest postseason runs in channel history, and we can even say in NHL history, as we had a full 28-game postseason going to 7 games in every series, as we went to 7 games against the Lightning, 7 games against the Panthers, 7 games against the Bruins, and then 7 games against the Dallas Stars to come out on top as Stanley Cup champions here in just year number 3 of our franchise mode series. So year 1 missed the playoffs. Year 2 we make the playoffs. Okay, that saves us from having to end the series. Now we say, okay, years 3, 4, and 5, what's our goal? Is it a President's Trophy? Is it an Eastern Conference Final? But boom, Stanley Cup champions year number 3. Super unexpected, but so excited to be able to say that. And now what's our step forward from here? Well, back from episode number 0, it is to restore the empire that has been and that continues to be the Detroit Red Wings. So in those 28 games, wow, Marco Kasper scored 31 points after his regular season numbers had 53 and 82. Not bad at all, but 53 and 82. Maybe we wanted a bit more from him as second line center. Yes, I recall all of that. But boom, over point per game throughout the postseason. Max Aho, another one we needed to step up. He was playing third line, even down to fourth line minutes, not having a great rookie season. 33 points in 74 games, and then he scores just 5 less points in 28 games. 28 in 28, matching almost his regular season numbers. Moritz Seider, point per game, 28 in 28 from the veteran alternate captain as well. He had a great season, 49 points, but still not that type of point per game pace. Kevin Fiala, 23 and 25. Raymond and Larkin both with 22. Taylor Radish, who was a mid-season acquisition, he scored 20 points in 31 games as a Red Wing in the regular season, and then in the postseason, 21 in 28. So that's what, like 41 points in 59 games? Crazy stuff. John Carlson, the only player on this team who had previously won a Stanley Cup, he gets his second ring. That's why he signed here in Detroit. Reason in his rookie year, 18 points from Reese's Pieces. Fyodorov, who was a suggestion, maybe we should sign him after Kevin Fiala went down to injury in game 1 of round 1. We signed him to start playing in round 2, brought him over from the KHL, and the rookie 80 overall, was he a 79 even? Scores 10 goals and 17 points in 27 games. Easton Cowan, the rookie as well. Edmondson 11, Sandin Pellikka 6, Sissons, DeBrincat. Now, Alex DeBrincat, who was still suffering the injury that he had at the end of the regular season, only appeared in 8 games. So from game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final and then the Stanley Cup Final as well, in those 8 games, he scored 2 goals and had 5 points. All right. Bernard Docker. Nadeau was a bit of a disappointment, just 4 points. Labushkin, Jeff Skinner, Stanley Cup champion. Ryan Poehling. And for the goaltending, another crazy story. Wallstedt also went down to injury. In the end, he had 5 appearances, 3-0-2 with 1 shutout, 9.11 save percentage, and 2.98 goals against average. But here he is. It was John Gibson who was responsible for, I'd say, probably a good 50% of why we won the Stanley Cup. As in the postseason, he took over the starting role at the age of 34 and goes 13-7-4 with 3 shutouts, a 9.22 save percentage, and 2.49 goals against average. 10 years since he had made a postseason appearance back with Anaheim in 2017-18, and now a Stanley Cup champion with the Red Wings. Possibly his last full NHL season with Augustine wanting to take the backup role. I don't know. But John Gibson, right at the end of his career, gets that Stanley Cup in and is a major reason for why we won. So now the question becomes, where do we go from here? Yes, we want to restore the dynasty and the empire, as I just said, but we have so much talent on this team, it's going to be hard to fit everybody in. Forwards, looking at overall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are we going to have 82s and 84s on the 4th line? I don't think so. That's not including Fyodorov and not including potential growth from Dower Nilsson, Carter Bear, even Max Planck. So we know, maybe not exactly how or who or what, but we know that players will be moving this offseason. We're hoping for some, cross your fingers, for Black Friday deals. If I'm recording it here on Black Friday weekend, hopefully we're getting some Black Friday deals. And for defense as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that's not including Vico, who might make the jump over the course of this offseason. Our 17th overall pick last year in 2027. Might he be ready for the NHL? And if he is, okay, maybe Jacob Bernard Docker moves out, or 7th D. So the defense shouldn't be a big problem. Just, do we re-sign John Carlson? If we do, for how much, for how long? Those are the major questions that we have to look to the AGMs for. So there are so many different directions to go in over the course of this offseason, many different comments on YouTube and the Discord server. I put it all into ChatGPT to get a summary of what everybody seems to be saying, and I'll get to it in a little bit, but let's start by reading some of these AGM thoughts. We'll start off with Cagney, one of our channel members, who said, "So, what an amazing and unexpected run. I'm pleasantly shocked that each of the young guys I called out as needing to step up for the team ended up finishing 1, 2, and 3 in scoring. Casper, Aho, and Sider," so Cagney was a bit of a prophet there. "The youth just really made their presence felt and could be the foundation of a dynasty in years to come. With all the money that's going to be available and the abundance of assets, we basically don't have enough room for it all. There are so many ways the team can go from here. I'm always inclined to try and run things back, I agree, but I do think some moves make a lot of sense. For one, seeing the team succeed without Alex DeBrincat leads me to feel he's a player that can be moved. Do we move him for another high draft pick or try and build a package for the right vet? I'm not sure. I'm inclined to keep Radish, though less certain about John Carlson. Finding the right replacement for the latter would be a priority in my opinion. I'll leave it at that, even though there's so much more that could be discussed. Excited to see where things go from here. As am I, and thank you, Cagney. We'll go over to Gavin now, who is so excited about the Stanley Cup run, but I'll just have to try and save some time and jump down to the off-season thoughts, excuse me. First of all, I may be alone on this one, but I don't think a new goal is totally necessary. We're thinking now that we've won the Stanley Cup, what's our next goal? It made sense at the beginning of the series when ownership and management were fed up with the lack of results and seemingly endless rebuild. Your leash was short, but somehow expectations were exceeded as the Red Wings are completely revamped just 3 years later and are not only Stanley Cup champions, but have maybe the best future in the NHL. I think the fans' trust has been earned and we can focus on doing whatever it takes to turn this team into a dynasty. For example, a move that would never make sense under normal conditions of a manager on the hot seat would be trading either Fiala or DeBrincat. 2 veterans in their primes just helped the team to a cup. Trading them could be a fireable offense for a manager who doesn't have the trust of the fans like we do. However, we are seeing now that their injuries were in many ways a blessing in disguise during the postseason as they opened up room for younger and sometimes even more productive youngsters to get a spot in the lineup that they deserved. Riesenen, for example, already looks like one of the most talented snipers in the NHL, and if we weren't so focused during the season on making DeBrincat and Fiala produce, we could have given him a real opportunity to be a leader on the team and a much more competitive Calder contender. With the fans off our back, we can justify moves like that now. So that would be my mandate for the offseason and moving forward. Not win the cup this many times or in this many years, but do whatever it takes to make this team the dynasty that the Red Wings fans deserve. Thanks, Data, for the incredible episode, and let's prove it to the NHL that this was not just a one-off, but that we are ready to dominate the NHL for the next decade plus. Let's go Red Wings. Gavin, long comment. Thank you for taking the time to leave all those thoughts. You're not the only one to do it, so I thank you everyone who does that, and I appreciate the thoughts in this one. Much love coming in from Herman, the German Merman, one of our channel members who suggested signing Fyodorov, and what a suggestion that was. Thank you very much. Fyodorov, baby, let's go. I guess I'll have to wear fedora from now on. I can't believe what we just saw. The Dataplan is a success. And fun fact, Steve Yzerman won his first Stanley Cup 14 years after he was drafted, and now Dylan Larkin has just done the same. That is incredible, even poetic. And now look at what Stevie Y did after winning that first cup. Let's have Larkin do the same. So there are a good number of other YouTube comments left by the AGMs in the last one. What I did was I copied all of them into ChatGPT. Maybe I'll do this moving forward a bit more often. But with so many big, long, well thought out comments, I said, can you summarize all of these into a number of points? And ChatGPT put it all into this paragraph right here. So fans are celebrating the dramatic cup win and praising both Data's commentary and the breakout performances from the young core. They overwhelmingly believe the youth should take over bigger roles and suggest trading DeBrincat, sometimes even Fiala, to free space or gain major assets while keeping Radish long-term. When we say long-term, I think a lot of people are more in that 2 to 3 year conversation, but yes. Many propose youth-focused lineups with a bit of added grit, maybe that veteran type of presence, improving special teams through coaching changes, yes, and aggressively trading up in the draft, especially for a top 3 pick. We see the number 3 overall pick from Minnesota on the block. The community's new expectation is clear. Aim for a dynasty with multiple cups, while also noting a few gameplay quirks and fun trivia along the way. So hey, thanks ChatGPT. It doesn't put everything perfectly, but for all those other comments I couldn't get to, but I replied to on the side, that's the little resume of what we could say. Now, speaking of further discussions, over on the Discord server, I can't remember the last time we had such a long discussion with so many different points of view over the course of multiple days. Last week has been a lot of discussions in the Discord server all about what are we going to do with DeBrincat and or Fiala, especially in relation to possibly trading for the 3rd overall pick. We know that players, especially forwards, are going to have to move. There's just not enough space in the top 9, but are those trades going to happen now at the draft? Is it going to be more towards September, the preseason, see how players grow? Let's see if Casper and Aho are for real. That's really where the debate comes down. So all that discussion to ChatGPT, thank you to our AI overlords. I'm an Android, right? So no problem with me. Overall summary of the Discord discussion. Many think Minnesota has no reason to trade with Detroit, especially after they traded as Wallstedt and then they just fell apart into the bottom of the NHL. But they might want to move the pick to stay competitive given their aging roster. They have a very good roster on paper. We'll look at it in a moment. They're still listed as buyers despite the struggle. But Detroit might be the last team that they want to give strength to, right? However, we are in the opposite conference, things that ChatGPT might not know about. Still, a few argue that Minnesota could be interested if Detroit massively overpays. So are we willing to do that? Next, should Detroit make big trades now or during the season we see how players start to pan out? Camp A is to wait. Slowburn was the main one leading that charge, saying, yes, we're going to trade players, but don't rush major offseason trades after winning the Cup. We still don't know if Aho or Casper can be reliable regular season contributors. How are Riesanen, Fyodorov, Nadeau, Cowan going to grow? Is Radish's breakout for real? Let the season start and sort itself out, because moving DeBrincat or Fiala now risks gutting depth before knowing what the team actually needs. The philosophy, don't act with haste, act with poise and patience. Now, the other side of the coin, act now. It says Data782. I was more presenting devil's advocate, but I say I'm also more in this camp. The young players have already proven themselves throughout what they just did in that cup run. Keeping everyone is also impossible. Too many 84+ overall forwards. Selling DeBrincat / Fiala now will maximize their value. Especially DeBrincat, his value might never be this high again. And a weak start next season, we say, okay, now we're finally going to move him. That would tank his trade return. Trading now lets Detroit get a high 2028 draft pick, creates major cap space moving into free agency, and avoids burying other prospects like Dower Nielsen or Bear. The philosophy? The system needs refreshing. These vets are replaceable. Move them while the value is peak. So the debate goes on. Many fans want DeBrincat gone. He has survived rumors forever, since the beginning of this series, or at least since the first episode or two. Production is inconsistent, and youth is pushing him out. Fiala is also seen as expendable, though some worry about losing too much veteran presence. Both have high overall, but neither was essential in the cup run, while their roles are being taken by the youth like Aho, Radish, Riesanen, etc. Maybe not Radish in terms of youth, but the point stands. Based on all that, ChatGPT gives 3 different ideas for a recommended plan. Step 1, we don't chase the 3rd overall pick unless the deal is fair and realistic. Minnesota being the seller of the pick and dealing with Detroit again is already a stretch, so only pursue number 3 if the final trade feels balanced, where I have to definitely overpay, and story consistent. Step 2, trade 1 veteran now, preferably DeBrincat, as he's peak value and already considered expendable. Minnesota or a mid-team in pick 13 to 15 range is fine, but definitely get a top 15 pick and or a good prospect in return. Then step 3, hold Fiala until preseason or early season, because his value won't crater as fast. Then you can see who grew, who regresses, where the holes actually are, and this plan will balance max value, roster clarity, and realism. Is Fiala very likely out even if we keep him at the start of the preseason? Yes, but at least if there's something crazy that happens with the youth just falling apart, then he's there ready to slot in. The pros and cons of that: it solves 1 roster spot and gets early value, reasonable realism, keeps veteran presence, lets camp / preseason reveal who truly earned a role, but at the same time, we might miss the chance to combine assets for number 3 if we want to give DeBrincat and Fiala to Minnesota, and Fiala's value might dip slightly, but I think that's a risk we're willing to take. Yes, I'd be okay with moving DeBrincat and Fiala and saying, hey, the youth is here, let's do it, but I do see the point of EA simulation can be tricky, right? Just because they did in the playoffs doesn't mean it's a guarantee they'll do it next year. Do we need to give them the ice time to do it? Yes. Do I think Fiala's going to be gone very soon? Yes, as well. But I think this plan balances everything, where there are so many fans saying it's enough, DeBrincat out, I don't know how he's still surviving, get this guy out of here. And the others who say, yeah, but let's not rush the youth too quick in EA land. So the Minnesota Wild, for example, thank you for all those comments, everybody. That's a very long intro to the episode. Sorry about that. Hopefully we can keep it quick from here. The Minnesota Wild, despite being at the bottom of the NHL, have a fantastic team. 1, 2, 3, their top line. 4, 5, 6, that's their top 6. Warren Fogel's a bit of a weak one, but 85 overall plus aside from that. Then Yurov, Ogren, and Height, 82 overalls plus in their top 9. And then a fourth line, all of 82s as well. And then for the defense, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 84 overalls, even with Middleton as the 7th D as an 84. So the Wild are a very strong team on paper. Things just didn't go right this past year. If we can add someone to their lineup, Kaprizov on the left, and you have DeBrincat on the right, first line center is Marco Rossi. How about that? I think they'd be interested. They want to do it while Kaprizov's window is still there at 31. He's not too old yet, but if they're going to go into a rebuild, then that spells the end of Kaprizov. Rossi's 26, Boldy's 27. They want to be adding pieces, not prospects who are going to be ready in, let's say, maybe not ready, but like at their best in 3 years. Even if we draft a power forward who's 82 overall, that guy is probably at least 2, if not 3 years away from being a top-line player, and they need a top-line player today. Who knows if Marco Rossi can be able to stick beyond 28, 29. He's an expiring UFA. Eriksson Ek, expiring UFA. The window for the Wild seems to be probably 1 more year, because then Rossi and Eriksson Ek are expiring. Yeah, so the Wild want to go, maybe not all in, but I see them moving that 3rd overall pick if we give them an overpayment of value. What I mean by that is, let's get into the draft. What I mean by that is, we have to give them, the message back in the trade would have to be, oh, I hope you know what you're doing. Don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. That's the message we would want to see back. So Minnesota, if we tell you, we want the 3rd overall pick, we'd love to get a power forward in this lineup, we'll give you Alex DeBrincat. I think already that would go through, but we're not going to give them just that. DeBrincat's on one of the best contracts in the NHL, 7x7, a potential 35-goal scorer plus. He's great when he wants to be, but it's time to move on from him. We have players who are going to replace him, and the sentiment around him, the fans are ready to move on. So Alex DeBrincat, and sorry, we're looking at forwards, yes. Sorting by overall, 1, 2, 3, so let's say DeBrincat out, 3 Fiala, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's still, Risanen would have to be a 3rd liner, I don't know. And then you have Fyodorov outside of that top line. There's still someone who has to move, and I unfortunately think that it's Bradley Nadeau. Nadeau, he's an 84 overall, still on league minimum for 1 more year, perfectly within the Minnesota Wild's window. I like Nadeau a lot. Here as a Red Wing, almost his entire NHL experience has been with us. 160 plus games, 23 goals, 50 assists, almost all with us, yeah. He's went from a 35 to a 37-point player. Ice time went up this past year as a full-time 3rd liner. Playoffs weren't anything too crazy. He had a reduced role, yes, 4 points in that cup run. I think we can get value for him now before he asks for more, and that more is not going to be something that we want to pay him next offseason. So if we give them DeBrincat and Nadeau, 2 players who are 88 and 84 overall respectively, who are costing you $7.885 million, that's 2 top 9 forwards, top 6 forwards even, for the 3rd overall pick. But I really want them to say gift horse in the mouth, right? So I would be willing to even toss in pick 32 to appease anyone who thinks, no, Minnesota wouldn't make that deal, whatever it might be. I will take that. I'll even take back some contracts just to make sure that things don't go weird with the salary cap. If we look at, like, Jonas Brodin, let's say they're not going to be able to keep him. Rossi's going to be extended. Maybe Marcus Foligno. Maybe they would want to keep Brodin. They have a lot of defense. But let's say I take Marcus Foligno back. And even Trenton at $3.5 million. Let's say I take these 2 guys back off your team. And this would be it. So, I mean, this was even suggested in the Discord. I won't trade them pick 32. I will draft a player at pick 32, then trade that player to Minnesota so they don't take some random top 9 forward. So DeBrincat and Nadeau to the Wild in exchange for the 3rd overall pick. I'll take a couple contracts from you just so your AI doesn't do something silly and re-sign these guys for $5 million each. And then you'll still have cap space. You'll still have a great window. You'll still be one of the best teams on paper in the league even. And then there you go. Maddox Schultz goes 1st overall to the Philadelphia Flyers, 82 overall, medium franchise. Whew. Glad that that's not in our division, but still. So Alex DeBrincat, who came here to try and win a cup, he spent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons as a Red Wing. Some seasons better than others, 3 years of 27 goals, and then 2 others of 36 plus. some 70-plus point seasons, always around a 60-point guy. He always had his value. It wasn't that he wasn't scoring, it's that it wasn't consistent, and youth is taking his spot now, and just fans are ready to move on from him. So to bring it off the Western Conference with Nadeau, who I think has done well, but doesn't have as much of a spot with guys like Aho and Fyodorov coming in. Minnie, what do you say? Trade accepted. Thank you very much on behalf of the Minnesota Wild organization. I accept your trade offer, and we'll see you out on the ice. Now, with that first, I think it would definitely be the gift horse in a mouth. So we'll get to that later on. But for right now, we have the 3rd overall pick. Let's see, and the Calgary Flames take Sekera. Ladislav Sekera, 83 overall sniper out of the draft here, 2nd overall. We have no power forwards in our system. We have Taylor Radish as a power forward, but no one else. Ricky Sierra is who we really want to go after here. This is why we made this trade in the first place. All these playmakers coming up next, but Ricky Sierra as a power forward, 53 goals and 133 points with Spokane in the WHL. NHL ready, A+ shooting. I think this guy screams 82 overall out of the draft, so we're going to cross our fingers. And if he is, then that's great. That's why we have a spot for him open with Nadeau being out. And worst case, we'll put some other prospect there if he's not ready yet. But for right now, let's head up to the podium and make it official. With the 3rd overall selection in the 2028 NHL entry draft, the Detroit Red Wings are proud to select from Spokane, Ricky Sierra. Welcome, Team Bello. You are 81 overall. Okay, not 82, not 83, but 81 overall. And maybe even a little growth over the offseason. We'll see. 3.5-star shooting out of the draft. Nothing crazy. Well, it's very good. Don't get me wrong. It's very good. But not one of those crazy 5-star, 90-plus shooting out of the draft guys. And you know what? I prefer it like that. Ricky Sierra, unstoppable and spark plug X factors, super cool, and already listed as a 4th-line forward. Awesome. Looking forward to growth from Ricky Sierra. And there he is in our system. It costs us an 88 overall DeBrincat, an 84 overall Nadeau, and a 1st-round pick to move up to from 32 to 3. Was that worth it for the Minnesota Wild? I think it was. We'll see how their lineup looks on day 1 to start the season as well. Now the next question, there goes Roos. The next question is, would we even consider moving for pick number 13? We were talking about a potential prospect who would be there. Let's start getting a little bit closer and see who's available. We have to keep 32 because that is already spoken for the Minnesota Wild. We're going to trade them that prospect. We'll trade. Let's do one more here. Okay. Ooh, the top 6. That was a top 6D. 2 more picks to go. Now, yeah, St. Pierre is the guy that we'd be most interested in. Mario St. Pierre from the Baie-Comeau Drakkar. 3 years away, similar to Ryan Kessler. Like that he's not straight out of the draft. He'd be a guy that's a bit of a project. Mario St. Pierre, that's a great name. Oh, that's a great name. So this is where we'd say, let's trade Kevin Fiala to the Ottawa Senators and make that happen for pick number 13. But would that be going against what we already spoke about? Yes. And you know what? Fiala, even, by the way, doesn't want to go to Ottawa. So that works out, too. If we want to make this trade happen, it has to be with different assets. Would it potentially be Dower Nilsson, who needs NHL time and won't get it in Detroit, or at least won't get top 9 time? He might be a 4th liner, but he wouldn't be getting much NHL time with us this next season. I'm open to keeping him, but maybe we have to move him. If we move Dower Nilsson and pick 79, is that enough for 13? No. Dower Nilsson is a former 3rd-round pick, 80 overall. It's too much of a stretch. I get it. 2/3 maybe? Dower Nilsson, a 3rd next year and a 3rd this year? Would that be the right type of deal? The Senators are buyers, so they get a good forward and go to their... Would he fit their top 9? This is going to be what determines the trade. Would Dower Nilsson fit in the top 9 here in Ottawa? Some people were talking about Brady Tkachuk, by the way, full no-move clause, so it wouldn't work out. Forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they have only Tkachuk's contract expiring. Not on an extension. Then Cates, then Ben. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work to give them Dower Nilsson. No, I just don't think we have the value. I just don't think we have the right value for it, for pick 13. Unless we move our 1st next year, which would probably be a late pick anyways, but would not be preferable. For a guarantee of a medium elite. Oh, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? I'm going to quickly ask I got a little bit of time here. I got like 3 minutes. I'm going to ask the AGMs in the Discord server. On-call AGMs. All right, so we got about 2 minutes left here, and the AGMs seem to be in agreement here for about 95% of the part here in the Discord server, saying yes, if the deal takes next year's first, go ahead and do it. We got to go quality over quantity at this point. Medium elite, we're not likely to get anything better in 2029 first. Could we use that first for a potential trade deadline move? Yes, but we could also use prospects. It's not that we're using the value, right? We're not like losing the value. We're just changing the value from a first into a medium elite prospect. So if I say, here's a third this year, a first next year, and can we throw a prospect in here to really make it worth Ottawa's while? You know, one of our top, because the value is already pretty close, it looks like. Grigorenko 68 at 20. Yuri Grigorenko, third round pick. No, I wouldn't want to move a former third round pick. And those later guys we've taken, not a real bum, but just... Niemi, low top 4D, defensive defenseman, harder to grow. Juha Niemi, also a former third round pick, but defensive defenseman. All right, Juha Niemi. I'm going to take out the third then. Niemi, who was a former third round pick and our first next year, to Ottawa for pick 13. Everyone seems to be, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It says you're quite far. Really? So maybe I will take more. Was that a fifth this year? Value looked good. You're quite far off. Really? That's a surprise. I'm not going to force it. Yeah, I was willing to do the third, so I guess I'll go back to the third. Niemi, third, and you're a bit off in value. And then we lose it. There you go. St. Pierre, 65 medium elite. It wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. That prospect, former third round pick, and a first, I get it. But a first, a third, a seventh, a prospect you drafted in the third round. So essentially the value of a first, 2/3, and a seventh to move from something in, like, let's say the late 20s to 13. I see the argument for both sides, but I don't mind that it didn't work. I'll just say that. I don't mind that it didn't work. Okay? So move on from here. There you go. Some people even, now I'm looking in the AGM thoughts. Hey, an 80 overall, medium top 6, Leach, Jeffrey Leach. Wow. More AGMs are staying a bit more, not definitely don't do it, but a few more are saying, I wouldn't mind if we just moved on. Another 80 overall, Loins. Who's this guy? Eddie Loins. Sheesh. Anybody else? Who's NHL? 1 year away. 2. Oh, that was probably it there. And then who's this next guy? Was 1 year away. Telefis 75 overall. All right. Anyways, let's go to pick 32. With 32, we're drafting a player, the best player, and giving them to Minnesota. So there you go. Low elite Umberger. Pat Umberger, welcome aboard, and we're going to trade you to Minnesota so as to complete the last part of the deal. So if you want to give me, just pick 199 in the draft, your lowest selection, and I'll go ahead and give you Umberger to finish off that trade for the third overall pick. There you go. Actually, not a lot of value even. Wait, he's low elite. There, absolute no-brainer for us here in Minnesota. Thank you, my friend. Next pick's at 79. So we pick at 3. Hey, a new Matt Dumba in the system? Michael Dumba. That's crazy. Good draft for the Wild. So our next pick comes at 79. Let's see if I might be interested in doing something, though. No, honestly, we just don't have the value. I'm looking at it. Good top 6 forwards are being drafted here. But like these teams, like the Islanders, the Flames, I looked like, would you take Dower Nilsson for a second round pick? They don't even want to do the trade. They're not interested in Dower Nilsson. Not that they don't want to do the trade. I didn't offer it to them, but they don't have any interest in Dower Nilsson. So they'd rather get their top 6 forwards, which is understandable. And our next pick maybe at 14. And after that, a lot of the top 6 is already gone now. Any left? And then there's a medium elite goalie. But we're picking at 79. We're going to miss some more medium elites here. But here's the thing for the goaltenders. I think we're looking at, was it Vorb? No, it was Ponikarovsky who we're most interested in. Now, the reason why all these medium elite goalies, starting by potential, all of, let's see, 4 of them that are before the hundreds and all that, all of them are 5 years away and 19, I believe. Yeah, 5 years away and 19. Ponikarovsky, though, is 4 years away and 18 as a gem. So I wonder if he's the one we go after potentially, the Ukrainian goaltender, Nikolai Ponikarovsky, looking to go around 72 or so. So if this is 46, maybe we could get 67 from the Hurricanes. In exchange, here's 79. And, I don't know, he wants some rights to some players. We're not really moving up that much here. Ostapchuk. Sverchek, who's this guy? 4th round pick in 2025 with low top 9 potential. Osipchuk and Severchek, the right side. Yeah, sure. Let's move up like 13 selections. Severchek, low top 9 potential. Yeah, I think this is a great deal for the Hurricanes. Maybe we can even get a 7th back. We're giving you not a great prospect, but a half-decent guy. What do you say? Trade accepted. Okay, great. So we'll do that for the Hurricanes, moving Severchek, who had low top 9 potential. Going to pick 67, we'll take that goaltender. So we still get a medium elite in our system today. Very good. Ponikarovsky, his other goalies, I wonder about them. Ponikarovsky, 58 overall medium elite as an 18-year-old. Versus these other goalies who were, let's see, medium elites, 62. Allen was 62 at 18. No, sorry, 62 at 19. So 62 at 19. And the other one was 61 at 19. 54 at 19. I'll take 58 at 18. All those were good, but I think this trade works out. We get a 7th. We'll get another prospect in the system. Sure. So let's no more trades now. We have no value to play with like at all. Let's go to pick 107 and just take who the best guy, like who of our guys who are pinned, who's still out here. Still a lot of guys we have pinned. We're not going to be having to cry about trade value. However, maybe we trade down a little bit. Yeah, it's a little while until we like any of these guys. We're in a bit of a dead zone here. Low elite, offensive defenseman at 144. Yeah, let's trade out of this one. The Predators have 132 and 133, so I'll give you a 107 for 133. Can I get a 7th back? Obviously not, right? No, trade rejected. Even straight up, they'd say, I don't know about it, even though you're getting a free move up. So how about I give you 197? You give me 197. No, not even. I'll give you 199. And you give me 165. Can we do that? There you go. My goodness, the games we have to play. Off to 133 now. With 133, we'll take this guy, Carter Waugh, but with a W-A-U-G-H. Offensive defenseman, low elite, 18 years old, 5 years away, but good to get offensive defenseman in the system. You never know who might grow. 48 overall, low elite. Thank you. 160 now. Last pick of the 5th round. Perfect. Falls right into our lap. Dmitry Lazarev, but he's 20 years old and 5 years away. That's a big turnoff. I'd rather take Shaw, who's a right side defenseman, gem, low elite offensive defenseman. Yeah, I'd rather do that. And 54 overall low elite. Okay, not bad. Over to pick 165 now, just a few picks later. A low elite, there was Lazarev. So he was 58 low elite, but at 20. I'll take our guy. Who's left here? Popov, medium another goalie in our system. Great. We have like no goalies at all, so I don't mind putting 2 in our system with this draft. Oleg Popov, 54 overall medium elite. Thank you very much. I'll lay off the goalies for a little bit now. I'm always happy to trade them to other teams that need, but I wouldn't mind just having 2 in our system. I know we have 1 from last year too, so we have 3 goalies in our system for the future. We cross our fingers that one of them hits and we move on. Anyone else who is pinned? No, no one else pinned. According to potential then, we can throw some darts here with some 7th round picks. Yeah, that'll be it. A few dart throws here. Or we trade for next year picks. Yeah, I think actually that's the better call. Philly, can you get a 7th next year? I'll give you a 6th and a 7th now. Actually, yeah, 6th and 7th now. 7th, yeah, how about your next 2 7ths? 2 7ths for a 6th and a 7th. That's a great deal for you. Yeah, there you go, Philly. I needed to replenish our 7ths. So next year, we just are missing a 2nd round pick. And in 2030, now we have 2 7ths. Always good to throw a 7th into a trade. So there you have it. There is the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing too crazy for the depth of this draft. Umberger left right away. Ponikarovsky and Popov, 2 medium elite goalies, and Waugh and Shaw, 2 low elite offensive defensemen, and of course Sierra being the big one as our new medium elite power forward with being an 81 overall out of the draft. Whew, what an episode it has already been. Let's advance to the first day of the re-sign phase. NHL assistant coach in a new contract, scouts new contracts. I'll take care of that in just a moment. First, let's look at the re-sign phase. Guys like Radish, John Carlson, what are they looking for? DeBrincat gone, $36.6 million in cap space. Let's get to it. So, John Carlson, I would be willing to do an overpay on a 1-year full no-move clause for John Carlson. 1 year, can we bring it down? Yeah, by quite a bit. Nothing's changed. Hold on, now it's starting to move a little bit. So 1 year, 7.75. Yeah, that seems to be about the max. Yeah, 1 year at 7.75. Full no-move clause for John Carlson. Think about it. Let me know. Taylor Radish now. It's hard to say no to Taylor Radish after how he transformed this team. That's what a couple of people described it as, and I couldn't agree more. So 1 year 5.2, 2 years 5.4, 3 years 5.6. He would want to cash in a little bit here. So he has a full organizational interest. It's crazy. I think as a UFA, he'd be looking for 5 or 6 years. So if we say, okay, we'll give you the maybe 4 years because his interest goes way down. So maybe we'll give you a 4-year deal. We'll say year 1, full no move clause. Let me play around with this. Something like this. Year 1 and 2, 20-team no trade list, and then when we're more likely to want to trade him, whether it's year 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, 16-team no trade. That's a pretty, half the teams in the league, it's a pretty tradable contract. 4 by, could we do 4 by 5? Probably not. 4 by, yeah, 5.25 for 4 years on Radish. 5 years, he's not so interested. Yeah. We're 4 years at 5.25 on Radish. I doubt we keep him for more than a couple of years, but at least we allow him to get paid after what he did, and we keep him from going to free agency. He really wants to resign here. Everybody's happy. Get back to us tonight. Ryan Paling, let's shoot him into the sun and call it a day on him. Jeff Skinner, thanks for coming here. We got you your cup. We're going to let you go to free agency as well. I wonder what he would want. Just curious. Yeah, not a lot at all, but we have a lot of spots we need to fill, and it's just not going to work out. Foligno, part of the mini deal, move on. Sissons, maybe 4th line center. We could see it. Trennan released. Nick Foligno, just for the jokes, for the laughs, he's gone. Sorry, just looking at the rest of the UFAs. Tomisto, we're going to have to let him go at this point now as well. Michael Rasmussen, does he become 13th forward kind of guy? Maybe. We have a ton of money, so maybe. And for RFAs, Vero, time to go. Finney, in this universe, time to go, sadly. Bicker, if these guys are going to have to go. I'll release a number of them. And unsigned. Sierra, is he going to be signed right away? We'll think about that. Goaltenders. Yeah, we're good. We're good on goaltenders. All right, so I'm going to take care of some contracts for UFAs, RFAs, blah, blah, blah. We'll be back. And even the coaches and scouts. And then we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so some offers sent out already. For the UFAs, do we keep Colton Sissons as 4th line center, as Rasmussen 13th forward? We'll see in just a moment. Let's see who signs on. And for RFAs, Dower Nilsson, we'll definitely give him a contract whether or not he sticks. He's willing to do 3 years and staying as an RFA. So 3 years, $950K. Okay, get back to us tonight. Weisblatt, is he able to stay on as 13th forward? I don't know. And yeah, let's just advance a day and see where that takes us. All right, Radish is on board. Let's go! No need for a second offer or anything. Taylor Radish, he's going to hopefully be a power forward mentor to Sierra. I accept your offer to stick with the team. Thanks for the stability. Welcome back to Detroit. John Carlson rejecting at this point in my career. I want to be on a team that is vying for the Stanley Cup. Totally understandable, John. I'm sorry to have not given you a Stanley Cup contending team. By the way, here's your Stanley Cup ring. Dower Nilsson accepts. That's great. All right. So back to the UFAs. John Carlson still with over $32 million. So we're still going to do 1 year. We're still going to do the full no move. But we'll just play around with the dollars. You know what? It really comes down to the years, because even it barely budgets up to $9 million. So if he wants 2 years, maybe we'll give it to him. But I'm not giving you any trade protection if you want 2 years. We can give him 2 years. We'll trade you after year 1. Yeah, okay. Instead of 1 year, 7.85? I'll give you, let's do 2 years at 7.25. Yeah, we can 2 years at 7.25. And we'll trade you after this year. Sure, we could do that. No problem. Get back to me. Now, so the forwards taken care of. Main roster, forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are top 6. Or some permutation of it, maybe resonant swaps with Radish, probably. Anyways, 7, 8, 9. There's your top 9. If Sierra's in it, because he's probably not. Actually, Fyodorov's going to be there, right? It's Fiala. That's the biggest question. So Fiala's, we're still pretty certain that Fiala's leaving. So let's assume he is. 1, 2, 3 with Casper. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Sierra. 9 Fyodorov. 10 Dower Nilsson. What's your 4th line? Dower Nilsson, Sissons, Farrell, Rasmussen, even Carter Bear. I like Colton Sissons a lot. He was here for a couple of years now, right? Parts of 2 seasons, 2 full years, Stanley Cup champion. I would like to keep him if possible. Would you do a 1-year deal? He does not want a 1-year deal. Yeah, we do have a lot of money, though. Ah, well, there you go. Just got to move it up a couple $100K. 1 year, 1.5 on Colton Sissons. We'll send that to him. And for Michael Rasmussen, we might just have to say goodbye to Rasmussen. He wants $2 million as like a 13th forward. We can't do it. Michael Rasmussen, we got you your Stanley Cup, but just not enough room on this Red Wings team. 605 games as a Red Wing, 81 goals, 117 assists, 198 points for the former 9th overall pick in 2017. Stanley Cup champion. Congrats for that. Your name's on Lord Stanley, but we got to let you go. So Michael Rasmussen, we bid you a congratulatory farewell, and we'll have to release you there. Breaks my heart. That's for the UFAs. RFAs now. So Ozzy Weisblatt, I loved him as 13th forward and playing on the 4th line. He's down for 1 year, 2-way, $950K. Pfft, cool. Sign me up. We do just $950 though, I wonder. Let's advance. Don't feel the role. Okay, our assistant coach wants to be a head coach now, even though he's a B-rated coach. Scouts are on board. Wonderful. John Carlson still rejects. I won't resign because the trade protection I'd be getting doesn't meet my needs, but Weisblatt and Sissons are both on board. Great. But John Carlson, we have a ton of money. Just there's not a lot of defense out there that would do a 1 or 2 year deal as a UFA. Like, potential UFAs sound like maybe there might be Josh Morrissey out there. But no, I'll give you a little bit more for the 2 years with no clause. Let's try 2 years at 7.5 on John Carlson. Another day, more scouts. Johnny, still rejecting. Let me go back to the coaches here, by the way. I'd like to keep Hutton as the associate coach, because I'd prefer to fire Generous, whose attributes are a little bit worse, and keep Hutton. But if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Okay, this guy wants a trade clause. Let's try 2 years at 7.5. 29 team no trade list in year 1. I won't be trading you, but in year 2, I need to have 8 teams or 7 teams I can trade you to. So that's going to be your clause. All right, let's advance a day. Still rejected. Doesn't like the protection needs. Really? But maybe July 1st comes and we just sign him as a free agent, right? Let's see. All right, this is my final offer here, John Carlson. 2 years at 7.75. Year 1, no move clause. That's fine by me. But year 2, we're very likely going to have to trade you. I don't know if it's Vico, whoever else coming up in the system. We're not going to be able to keep you longer than that. So John Carlson, let's go, buddy. To be honest, I accept. Thank you, Harvey Hutton. John Carlson, welcome back. There you go. Just got to play the game. You just got to play their game a little bit. Down to $24.9 million in cap space. Even Fiala moving out, that would get us back over to $30 million. Final RFAs. These guys. Burns, low top 60. Quentin Burns. No, he's going to walk. And the rest, I'm going to qualify, and we're going to see. We're going to see how things look, okay? That was enough of a headache. That's done. Goalies are done. All right, let's get to July 1st now. The coach signed on. We'll see who else is available. Let's get one more day, and here we are. Free agency, who would be out there? If John Carlson had walked, would any defensemen have been out there that fit the bill? Brady Tkachuk does drop. Wow. UFA defenseman, no, not anybody who would want to do a 1 year thing. Maybe Jonas Brodin, but Morrissey, he wants 3 years at $14.4 million. Now that wouldn't have worked. UFA forwards out here. Brady Tkachuk wanting 7 by 15.3. Yeah, but 6 down to 12.8. Still crazy numbers from Brady Tkachuk. What did he do last year? 41 goals, 86 points. Boy. Peyton Krebs is somehow an 88 overall. Dorofeyev, we were looking at him at one point, coming in and being the sniper on this team until we drafted other snipers. And for the goaltending, who's out here? Bobrovsky, 87 at the age of 39. Jet Greaves is an 86. Okay. All right. Anyways, what else can we do here on July 1st? We can look at potential extensions now. Max Aho, what would he be looking at? If we want to keep him as an RFA for 4 years at 6.6 he wants. No, we'll wait on Aho. Yeah, no rush there. No one else who really jumps out as someone we have to extend. Kevin Fiala, just out of curiosity, wants 3 by 9. Yeah. Trey Augustine would be looking at... Okay, we could do Trey Augustine right now, probably. 1 year to stay as an RFA. Yeah, that's fine. 1 year, $800K stay as an RFA. Great, that's done. Lovely. I mean, maybe we move on from Lyubushkin. Maybe we say, you know, Seider, Edvinsson is the first pair. Carlson, Sandin Pelika is the second pair. But on that third pair, maybe we go crazy. Instead of having Bernard Docker with Lyubushkin, who's 34, maybe we sign someone who's looking for a cup like a Jonas Brodin on a 1 year deal to play third pair minutes. I wonder. We have a lot of money. Let's try and use this somehow. He's on that left side. That would be great. Shot blocking 81, stick checking 82, but 90 defensive awareness from Jonas Brodin. If another 83, then Lyubushkin's already an 83, but might he regress? That's the question. Then Vico might grow. One of them could be 7th D. I want to use this money somehow. Oh, so many good options, so much cap space, but no really lineup spots to fill. And unless we say maybe we make a competition out of camp for who stays on defense, that's why Lyubushkin, maybe he's going to regress a little bit. It's possible. I like that Mario Ferraro contract a lot. 3x3.3, hard to avoid. So I might just give him exactly what he's looking for. Not play around with it. 3 years. I think if we do 3.3, he's going to say yes right away. And if we try to save 50K, just for the sake of saying, oh, it's 0.25 in those increments, maybe another team gets him. But you know what? He has such high organizational interest that we might even be able to get it down to like 3.15. I'm going to play around. Maybe this is crazy, but if it's meant to be, I'm going to save that 50K. I'm going to send this to Mario Ferraro to play maybe third pair, fight for a spot. Let's see what happens. Mario on board right away. Let's go. Mario Ferraro signing on day 1 of free agency. Instantly, not hearing any other offers. 3 years at 3.25 for an 83 overall. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Brodin could have done 1 year like 6.5. But the defensive attributes aren't really speaking to me. 3-star physical, no. For 34, maybe he regresses himself. No, not feeling it. Yeah, because, wow, let's go get Josh Morrissey. We have the money for it. 3 years of, yeah, sure. But then where's ASP? Where's Edvinson? Where are all these guys going to go? We have such a good young team that's going to get paid big time in the near future. But for right now, we're just, this money's just burning a hole in our pockets. I wish there was a need. It'd be fun to say, oh, do we get Dorofeyev? Do we look at maybe getting someone down here, more of a value, 85 overall kind of guy? But we just got to be content with the team that we have. This team is a very good one, and we got to be content. We just won the Stanley Cup. We don't need to change up anything too major. What we do want to think about is hiring a new staff member here. So if we look at our current coaching staff, we said we want Generous out. So associate coach, yeah, he'll be fired. Yeah, exactly. We could have demoted him to the AHL associate coach, but that's probably just a bit too crazy. Yeah, we need an AHL associate. So new NHL associate. Sorry, no, I don't want to fire this guy. New NHL and AHL associates. So if we look at NHL associates, Sereda is the best one here, but how's the power play and the penalty kill? So Generous had B- in the power play. Yes, A+ penalty kill. So I'd probably have someone more balanced, A and A- for Bear Holwig. Yeah, that works for me. Okay, see what he says to that. And for AHL associate, looking more in the teaching and influence while still, so yeah, let's do this guy here. Robinson Champion. What a name. Offer that. There you go. And now for the scouts. Any of those A-rated scouts? Yes, absolutely. So allow me to do some scout work here. Scouts are done. Now on to maybe some of our RFAs. Let's see who's still out here. We got to think about RFAs. Johansson, yeah, 77.24. We can give him a contract. 1 year RFA. Enrique, sure. Welcome back. Lombardi, 77.25K. We need some guys who can still play hockey down there. But for Finney, if it wasn't for him doing well in the real world, I'd say, who is this guy? So 70.23. Probably have to let him go. We could trade his rights somewhere. His rights with a 7th for a 6th. Let's just give him a chance at life somewhere else. Finney and a 2030 Detroit 7th for an Anaheim 2037th. There you go. Not too much to deliberate here. There you go, off the Western Conference. Finney, have a new chance at life there. I think we're ready to advance a day here. Let's see what happens. We'll do off-season focuses in a moment. Let's see what the scouts have to say. Bear Holwig is on board. Very good. Hopefully that helps the special teams. And a ton of scouts who I send contracts to. And you know what? I should probably send some contracts to anyone with potential. There's so many things around. I just haven't been keeping it all in mind. UFAs, sorting by potential. Anyone who might be out here for the AHL? Not so much, eh? Wieland might be someone for the AHL top pair. If we need someone to play with Vico, I don't know where Vico's going to be. But yeah, Enrique, we'll throw him in there. Why not? Top 4D potential. Okay. Would Machar do a max 2-way deal for 1 year? Probably not, but I'll send it to him. Why not? I'm just curious, by the way. Any offers for Morrissey? No. So his ask has come down quite a bit now. So advance a few more days. Let's get the answer. Okay, Robinson champion. Some of the guys we sent contracts to for the AHL, scouts, blah, blah, blah. Moment of truth. Come on, there you go, Mashar. Okay, really? A two-way deal. Okay, well, you know what? He knew what he was signing up for. There's no cheese here. It was a one-year, two-way deal. So if he wants NHL minutes, if he's angry, he's an 80, but maybe he pushes 81. Maybe he makes it in the NHL. I don't know. Or he stays as a Grand Rapids guy. But okay, I don't mind doing that. And that's true, because the RFA signed on right away. We're done with the contracts. Yeah, that's everybody. It's the unsigned players. Maybe Sierra, maybe Vico. We'll find out. But first, off-season focuses. So I'll take care of this. I never want to cheese it too much. Just let's find some glaring issues. Players who are really struggling, like Casper and his defensive attributes, maybe, stuff like that. Let's just send out a few off-season focuses in that way. And then after that, I'll start simming to the beginning of next season, which will be the year number 4 draft. So it's time to start thinking about the draft classes moving into next year too. Didn't think about that yet. Well, you know what, actually, because in years 1, 2, 3, I did low draft classes because there were the created prospects in addition to generated prospects. I'm going to say year number 4, because it was low for 3 years, we'll do year number 4, this draft coming up in 2028, will be a medium draft. And starting the year after for year number 5, we'll spin the wheel and the number randomizer to say will it be low, medium, or high. But because it was low for 3 years, let's do year number 4 as medium. I'll send out the off-season focuses now and then start simming towards the beginning of the preseason to look at who grew, how lines might look, and we'll wrap up the episode to get ready for the preseason at the start of the next one. All right, start of the season. Here we are, year number 4, about to get underway. Let's see what kind of growth may have happened over the offseason. Already seeing it. Fyodorov, 82. Risanen has not moved. Aho, 86. Cowan, 85. Wow. Defense. Sider, did he drop to 89? Oh, I'm not saying ASP. I'm sure he's still 81. Oh, okay, then he's 83. Okay. Dower Nilsson, 81. Wallstedt, 88. And Augustine, 85. Wow. And for the AHL, Plant, 79. Okay. So let's fix up the lines to how they might look on day 1. All right, so here's an idea. Risanen, Larkin, Raymond on the top line +4. Second line, Fyodorov with his 3 X factors, Casper and Aho +2. Third line, Radish, Cowan, and Fiala or Ricky Sierra. We'll see if he grew. Fourth line, Dower Nilsson, Sissons, and Mashar. Big surprise that he was even going to be there. Ozzy Weisblatt would be there on the fourth line as a 78, but if he's there as an 80, that also works. But then as 13th forward, we do also have Sean Farrell as a 79. They're both playmakers, he and Mashar, so that's a tough one. And on defense, top pair, Edvinson and Sider +1. Second pair, Sandin Palika and Carlson, no chemistry. Third pair, Ferraro with Labushkin. And Ferraro, by the way, does have the X Factor, the Warrior X Factor. And then 7th D would be Jacob Bernard Docker. Goaltending, Wallstedt backed up by Augustine, and there you go. Down in the AHL, Bears, it's time to move on from him. Plant up to a 79, but he's 22 now. On defense, Wieland is an 80 overall. Kivihari, is he going to grow? I don't know. Goaltending, John Gibson is an 80. He'll be third goalie up in the NHL. So it would be Miller starting, backed up by or sharing with Guimont, both 75 overall guys. Now, for who potentially grew in the unsigned players, let's go and look at Vico and Sierra in the contracts. The unsigned players, no growth from Sierra, still an 81. Vico up to a 79. So I don't mind Vico staying overseas for one more year, 78 to 79. Let's let him grow a little bit more probably. Sierra as an 81. Is he ready to be signed right now as third line left wing? Or does Fiala stick around and he goes back to the juniors for another year? That's a good question. So that's going to be up to the AGMs to think about. I'm not simming any further than right now, so the AGMs can discuss that. Petrov, 74 overall. He was, former 4th round pick. Cool. For the goalies. All right, don't want to look at too much right now. I'll stop there after we look at the trade blocks. Yes, trade blocks end off the episode. If we're moving a guy like Kevin Fiala, we have a lot of value to play with. We have $22.5 million in cap space. That is wild stuff. And if I don't know if we want more draft picks or what, but what's available around in the NHL? Sorting by overall, looking here, Granlund, Gustafsson, Alexiev in Anaheim, Boston, Saad, and Arvidsson. Buffalo, not much. Calgary, Uyghur, and Ball, both open coming to Detroit. Carolina, Chicago, okay, Colorado. Devon Tays, who's open coming here with 3 years left at 34. Sam Girard open coming here as well. A couple of big defensemen named there in Colorado. Columbus, Dallas, Edmonton, Florida, McGillney prospect. LA Kings, not too much. Minnesota. See, we'll look at their lines actually after this. Minnesota there. The Canadiens have Gutierrez on the block. Even this guy Telkvist, they just drafted. Yes, that's right. Villeneuve. Okay. All right, Montreal, I see you. Predators, Devils, prospects. Yep. Islanders, Rangers, Senators, Flyers. Siegenthaler just got signed. And Ghost not open to coming here. Pittsburgh. San Jose is Kurashev, McKinney, okay. Seattle, Montour, Lindgren, and Larson all open to coming here. St. Louis, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Utah, a couple prospects, okay. Vancouver, Hronik, and Pettersson, Marcus Pettersson, both open to coming here. Vegas, few 80 overall guys, no one in Washington, and no one in Winnipeg. So that just about does it for the 2028 offseason, ladies and gentlemen. What a video it was. Some good Black Friday deals for that third overall pick. We definitely had to overpay, as you sometimes do unknowingly on Black Friday. But now the Minnesota Wild, how do they look? Kaprizov, Rossi, Boldy, DeBrincat, Eriksson, Ek, Heidel, Fogle, Yurov, Nadeau at an 85 overall. Whew. Oh my goodness. And fourth line, Chinnikov, Ogren, Killorn have an 85 on their fourth line. Defense, Mike Matheson, of course, previously traded last season from us. Matheson, Faber, their top pair. Middleton and Jiricek. Sanheim is an 88 with Myers. Come on, you gotta say that we gave them good value. And Gustafsson as an 86 is their starter. That's a wild team in Minnesota. No pun intended. And I wonder how that might turn out in terms of simulation over the course of the season. But ladies and gentlemen, I will end it off there. Leave any and all of your thoughts in the YouTube comments down below or over in the Discord server. Link in the description. Thoughts on the lineup, the permutations. Who are we trading out? Do we wait to see a little bit? Must I make a decision by game 10 or 20? And will it depend on what? Does Sierra get signed and added to this lineup? Do we keep the lineup as is and play around with the top 9 as they go? Maybe Fyodorov goes to the third line. He is listed as a depth forward. Cowan listed as a second line forward. Do we get him up somehow? I mean, Casper has 81 faceoffs and Cowan has 80, and he's a center only. What happens with Dower Nilsson? What happens to the guys in the AHL? A lot to think about, even after winning the Stanley Cup. A lot to think about, and I look forward to hearing from all of you, the AGMs, in the next one. Leave a like if you haven't already, and of course, if you're following along with the series, you enjoy this content, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when all of it comes your way. Our live stream series on HLM 26, MLB The Show 25, our new NHL 26 live stream series starting soon. I keep saying it, it's because there's a lot of players to create, but starting soon. And of course, our Red Wings series here in the uploaded format on the channel. So I appreciate you being here. Hope to hear from you in the comments, and looking forward to a strong year number 4 as we continue towards restoring the Empire and even possibly trying to go back-to-back in 2028-29.